Hey guys, welcome to Sit Topical. Nate here, and today we are doing over under for movies from the 2020s, where Strange Wang off camera will give me a movie from the 2020s, and I'll say whether or not I think it's overrated or underrated, and maybe why.
Your favorite movie of the 2020s? Ticket to Paradise. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Actually, people like that movie. You're the only person who doesn't like that movie.
I don't think I'm the only person who doesn't like that movie. But if you're going to tell me that people really like that movie, I'm going to tell you that movie's overrated, because that movie sucked. It was, incredibly flat. To have two of the most charismatic actor and actress, depending on how you feel about the word actress, to have two of the most charismatic people that have ever been on a Hollywood screen in a movie and it feel that completely flat. It was super disappointing. And also, fuck that freeze frame at the end. That was so lame and cheesy, and I hated it.
That movie's just fine. Tenet, the first movie back in theaters.
Yeah, man, do people talk about Tenet still? I don't think so.
No, people actually put Tenet in his, lower half of his best movies.
Yeah.
People don't like Tenet.
I don't know why. I think that makes... Yeah, I was going to say this regardless. I think Tenet's underrated. I think Tenet's an incredible movie. I definitely, as I've said on our channel multiple times, I don't generally give points to movies in terms of them being good or not for being innovative or because of a cultural impact. You could be a bad movie and still have been innovative or had made a cultural impact. I think Tenet is a good movie, and it is also one that we kind of owe a lot to because it did get people back in theaters. Maybe not as much as we owe Top Gun Maverick, but we still owe it. I think Tenet's great. I think it's a really interesting concept, incredibly well acted, and I really dig it. So,
Sonic the Hedgehog.
I think that's perfectly rated. I think it had this benefit of no one expecting it to be good, and then it came out and it was actually a really fun movie. Nobody's talking about it like it's absolutely excellent. It is potentially the best video game movie that exists right now. And yeah, it was pretty good. It was a lot better than I expected it to be. So,
Emily the Criminal.
Huh. Yeah, that one's tough because hardly anyone saw that movie.
Well, how's that tough?
Well, because I've read reviews of people who did see the movie and they thought it was absolutely incredible.
Because it is incredible.
It was fine.
It's on Netflix.
It was okay.
Everyone can watch it.
Everyone can watch it, but not everyone did watch it.
No one watched it.
I'm gonna say it's underrated. It's still a really good movie. It was. I can't remember if it cracked my top 10 of the year or not.
It did.
It did. Yeah, it was really low on the list, but it was definitely in there. It was deserving of the 9 point something I gave it. Really good Aubrey Plaza performance. Still has her dryness. I'm not 100% sure she's capable of doing anything other than that, but it's in a different setting and a different role than we would normally see her do that kind of thing in. So it's a very tense movie. And it's one that had me thinking about what was this movie about for a really long time after I watched it. So it's good.
I had to pick a movie that's going to get people clicking on it because of the thumbnail. So what better picture to use for the thumbnail than Tom Cruise and Top Gun Maverick?
Top Gun Maverick, I mean, I think it's perfectly rated. What a great movie. So much fun. One of the most rewatchable movies to come out probably in the last 5 years. Like I said, I still don't give it points for being good or bad, but an incredibly important movie for the movie industry. And I was super skeptical about it because sequels that come after, very, very delayed sequels like this, often not very good. They crushed it with Top Gun Maverick. I don't really know a whole lot of people who don't like Top Gun Maverick, even if you don't think it's as great as I do. Pretty much everyone still likes Top Gun Maverick, so I gotta say perfectly rated.
Mortal Kombat.
I guess I'll say perfectly rated. I don't hear anybody talking about it anymore. It was a video game movie that was better than I expected it to be. It was an enjoyable watch. The fight scenes in it were very entertaining. I didn't care about the plot at all. The movie didn't do anything to make me hate the plot. It didn't do anything to make me invested in the plot. I just wanted to see the fight scenes, and it was really fun. And I don't think that too many people think much about it outside of that. So
Next, we have a movie that got lost on streaming, and the only people that saw it was people who liked movies. But I feel like out of all the movies on this list, this is one that is slightly pretentious, I guess, but it's made, I think, for a mass audience. And I find it really weird no one watched it, and it is Palm Springs.
oh man,
That
yeah.
would have killed at the theater, I think.
I agree. Like, I think the only reason this movie didn't go to theaters was because if this movie came out after Top Gun Maverick and people were going to the movies again, I think this movie could have killed. Yeah, if you haven't seen Palm Springs, you should go watch Palm Springs. It is very good. My answer is wildly underrated. I think a lot of people also dodged it because a lot of people just really don't like Andy Samberg, and I can't blame you for that. Like, he's really annoying sometimes, but this movie is the exception. He is very good in this movie. It is a great take on like the Groundhog Day type premise. It's really funny. Has a good message to it. Go check out Palm Springs. It is streaming. You don't have to. It's Hulu, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's on Hulu. Go watch Palm Springs. Super underrated movie.
A movie that made a fuck ton of headlines. Borat 2.
Oh. I think Borat 2 is a little underrated. I think it was on my top 10 of the year for 2021. 2021, right?
2020.
2020, yeah. I'm pretty sure it was on my top 10. I had a lot of fun with that movie. There was really only... I'm not a big, like, gross out gag kind of guy. There's only one part of the movie where I was like, that's just too much. I don't appreciate that. And it's when Homegirl's at the debutante ball. But, yeah, I thought it was hilarious. And I felt like he had more to say from a political standpoint in this one than he did in the first Borat. And I felt like, for me personally, all that stuff really landed. And I really enjoyed it. So I think it's a little underrated.
Do you think it's a little underrated? Because the next movie is The Little Things.
Yeah, I think that movie is underrated. I think it's a great, like, crime thriller. Definitely like a neo-noir movie. But some people kind of shit on that movie. Like, some people straight up said that movie was bad. I didn't understand that. It was shot in like an odd... or wait. Dang it. No. What was the other crime movie that came out sort of about that time? And it had Brendan Fraser in it. It was like an older crime, like
Yeah,
time frame wise.
It was like made like a noir. It was
yeah, that was the one that had the weird aspect ratio, and that one
Yeah.
fucked with my eyes a little bit.
It did. That's an HBO.
Yeah,
Max original now.
right. Anyways, that's not the movie we're talking about. We're talking about The Little Things. Denzel, Rami Malek, Jared Leto. I really like this movie. You know, there's plenty of movies out there that are about like detectives that are pushed to the limit and kind of lose their shit. In this one, it's kind of balanced out by the Denzel character who like has been through that before and is trying to coach Rami Malek through all those feelings and stuff. Ultimately unsuccessfully, but I really dig that movie. I think it's better than a lot of people said it was. It's a little dry. It could be a touch slow, but still incredibly interesting to me. I definitely think I hadn't watched it at that time, but I just recently finished the first season of True Detective, and I definitely think they made that movie because of how successful the first season of True Detective was, because it has a lot of things in common with it, but it's underrated. It's a good movie.
The movie we were thinking of was No Sudden Move.
Oh, that's it.
Tick, tick, boom. Andrew Garfield musical.
I felt like Tick Tick Boom was a little overrated. People were really, really high on that movie. It was okay. It's just like, it was very. If you are a theater fan, you would probably love that movie. It is super theatery. Like Garfield's performance, he's great in it. I watched some videos of the guy he was portraying. He nailed that dude's mannerisms and his inflections and everything like that. So he's stellar in it. He got a lot of praise for it. I think he deserves it. The movie itself was just like a little cheesy isn't the right word. It's just like it wasn't my vibe. It wasn't my vibe.
Next, we have a film that ripped off another film. Like many films ripped off John Wick around this time, and this was one of them. Nobody.
Oh. So that's tough because I see Nobody actually pops up on my Twitter feed every once in a while now.
I put it on the list because I feel like if more people watched it, more people would really enjoy it.
Right. And it also, like, there are aspects of the action that are definitely John Wick inspired, but it is very different enough from John Wick to where I wouldn't, if you avoided it because you were like, oh, a John Wick clone, you should watch it anyways. It's definitely got enough different stuff in there to keep. I'm still going to say it's underrated. Nobody is great. It actually has some like pretty funny moments in it that are very organic. They're not forced, so it doesn't ruin the tone of the movie. Odenkirk is just like not who you would have ever expected in a role like this, and he absolutely crushes it. So they're making a second one, aren't they? I'm pretty sure they are.
So.
Yeah. So I'm not even mad about that. They could have just made the first one and let it exist, and it would have been probably better. But that's not how Hollywood works these days. But I think Nobody is starting to get like a bit of a cult following, and I think it's just going to fall in that like kind of cult film category, which is okay because that still means it's going to get some respect. But if you didn't watch Nobody, you should watch it. It's very good.
Last film on this list of mine is the newest film, and it is Air.
Oh. Well, my first instinct is to say I think it's perfectly rated because Air was fine. It did what it needed to do. It was not a super heavy movie. It wasn't necessarily super like light to the point where it's too boring either. And I also like people aren't necessarily really talking about it. What's his Rotten Tomatoes score? I don't know.
93, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's like a little higher than what I would put it at. I'd probably give it a high 80s.
Well, the whole sneaker boom and everything got people in the theater to see it.
Yeah.
Last Dance documentary came out 2 or 3 years ago. Michael Jordan's stock just went up from there.
Yeah.
You also haven't seen a lot of movies from 2023.
Sure.
So I was trying to get films from each decade, at least 2.
Mm-hmm.
And the only 2 I know if you've seen is Ticket in Paradise and this one. So.
Oh, okay.
Ticket in Paradise might have came out last year.
Yeah, it was 2022.
Well, this is the only 2023 movie on the list.
It was some of my worst of the year.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I think I've seen 2 movies that came out this year, and
you haven't seen any on like streaming that came out this year.
Mm-mm.
I don't even know what came out this year on streaming.
Yeah, I don't either. Nothing that great apparently.
I've been slacking.
But yeah, I don't really hear anyone clamoring about Air anymore. So I'm just gonna say perfectly rated. It was a good movie. I would watch it again. Probably not anytime soon. And after I watched it again, I'd probably never watch it after that. But it is really interesting that you brought up The Last Dance because me and Anna's never seen it. So we watched Air, and then I was like, oh, have you seen The Last Dance? She was like, no. And then I was like, oh, we should watch that. So we've been watching that. And we just got to the episode where they talk about Jordan going with Nike. And the real life agent is on the documentary. And the story that he tells on the documentary is just the exact opposite of what happens in Air. He's like, oh, like, I had to get his mom to convince him to take the meeting with Nike. And they do the whole bit in the movie about, like, whether or not he's the one that came up with Air Jordan, but he takes 100% claim for it in that. And he claims that it was his idea to give him his own shoe and all that stuff. And so now I'm really interested in what the true story in that was. But Air is fine. I would certainly recommend it. It's definitely worth watching. But
Amazing documentary called Unbanned. I believe it's on Hulu about the Air Jordan after it was made.
yeah,
But you have to get in how it was made before you get into why
Right.
it was banned. You might want to watch that afterwards.
I just might. That's what I think about those movies from the 2020s. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. What I get wrong? What I get right? What do you think the most overrated or underrated movie from the 2020s is? Scroll back up, hit the like button, and subscribe.
It's not a game, it's a